The reason why this is so happening so fast is because the desire is here now for these things to happen. This group that wants to restructure the whole human society, the financial economic system, fourth industrial revolution, we've talked about this. They want this to happen. They want chaos, they want famine, they want population reduction, they want restructuring. So if you think they're working for you, to help you, you got another thing coming. They're doing the opposite right now. Everything is in escalation. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, Inspired Tribe. Welcome. It's wonderful that you're here. My name is Jean Nolan. Thank you for tuning in for quite a serious subject today. This is really a preparedness alert. It's not a drill. And I know you get this and you know this, but here's the thing. We talk a lot about spiritual inner development, what that means for us in the world, what that means for the development of the world, what it means in our lives and collectively. And that's very important to us. But we also have a physical experience here. We're physical beings. We have physical needs. And this is 5 minutes past 12 right now for that. You know, the events right now are escalating very fast. It's a very wanted on parts of those forces, dark forces, of wanted escalation. They're literally escalating it. I talked to my mom the other day, and she said something that I think about a lot. We shared the same thoughts. Every conflict can be solved if people agree to sit around a table for as long as it takes to solve it. But if people don't want to solve it, if they want the opposite, then that's what they do. And that's what we're seeing unfold now. And as we see kinetic war, cyber warfare, financial warfare, economic warfare, all those things, ultimately, this trickles down to every single market, every single asset, whether that's food, whether that's steel, whether that's oil, whether that's gas, it doesn't matter. It trickles down to everything. So what we expect to see very, very soon, of course, a continuation of the skyrocketing food inflation. And of course, this is all a trickle-down effect from the extremely rising oil prices and gas prices. What that means is that people will have to spend more and more of their income on basics, on food. And it will continue to, the prices will continue to skyrocket. The cost of farming is doubling and tripling as we speak. To fill up a tractor, to fill up all the equipment, all of that, there's so much involved in that. This is doubling and tripling as we speak. What we're going to see soon, I assume, is flash mobs for food theft, which leads to food riots and that kind of stuff. Food scarcity in stores, which, if you have been paying attention, certain food groups have been scarce. And we've, over the year, always seen breaks in the supply chain, which meant you could go to a store and see it half empty. Which is very, very troubling. I believe very, very soon we're going to see in the Western Hemisphere, everywhere, but in the Western Hemisphere, something that's unheard of in a long time for most countries. We're going to see food rationing, food passports, or certain rules as to when you can shop and how much you can shop and how much of what you can shop. We've already seen this last year, over the 2 years, sometimes when there was a hype on toilet paper or whatnot, you would see rationing, right? So this was sort of a test run to see how people would react to that. Now, with all this happening, this is, in our opinion, and we can always only share our opinion and our observation. We've been observing and paying attention to this for really strongly for 15 years. And watching what the markets do, watching what the world geopolitically does. And right now, the reason why this is happening so fast is because the desire is here now for these things to happen. This group that wants to restructure the whole human society, the financial economic system, fourth industrial revolution, we've talked about this. They want this to happen. They want chaos, they want famine, they want population reduction, they want restructuring. So if you think they're working for you to help you, you got another thing coming. They're doing the opposite right now. Everything is in escalation. This is not to spread fear at all. This is actually to remind everyone this is the time to really prepare for longer periods of time where you need to be self-reliable. And how can you do that? You need to start at the basics if you haven't yet. What are the basic things that you and your family need for survival? Food, water, shelter, and depending on the time of the year and where you live, heating, basic hygiene products. We're starting with the core things here, and also what you can do no matter your situation. We were found by companies who felt that we could bring benefit to the people, and so we partnered with My Patriot Supply to bring a little bit of a better price to you all, as much as we could get there. So if you go to preparedwithinspired.com, you'll get $150 off a 3-month food supply. This is one thing that we've done. This is long-term, long shelf life, 25 years. Emergency food supply. This is not something that you consume on the daily. This is not something that is recommended to be consumed daily over long periods of time, but this is something that you have just in case. So if that's something you're looking for, there's a 3-month emergency food supply that you can get now for $150 off at preparewithinspired.com. We put the link up there. Listen, $150 is $150, and we're glad if you can get that discount. So that's one thing that you can do, which will bring a little bit of peace of mind, I can tell you that. So what else can you do? Let's say that budget isn't there right now. One thing that you can do almost everywhere is you can get a little food dehydrator. It's it's like a box when you have layers that you can stack in there. I think they started, what, $30?
I think so.
They started at $30, and you can probably get them used for cheaper. And then what you go is you either have fruit or you buy fruit, and you look at the fruits that you like, and they're good to dehydrate. We can tell you things that really do well is bananas do well, apples, mangoes, pineapples.
Yeah.
So what you do is you cut them up.
Also mushrooms.
Yes, and yeah, of course, veggies too. I was just talking about fruits right now. But you cut them up, and you just put them in there for 8, 10, 11 hours. It just depends. And you can leave them overnight, leave them in a room, and you just keep doing that constantly. And then you put them in a sealed zipper bag where they're, and store them somewhere where it's dark, and they can be stored for quite some periods of time, and they don't really lose a lot of their nutritional value, which is really great. So you can just do this perpetually. Just keep doing it until you have pounds and pounds and pounds of dried fruit, dried veggies. It's just something you can snack on, if nothing else, but it will sustain you for quite some time. So this is something you can do very inexpensively. Just remember how many people in your family, what are you going to need? Water and water storage is very difficult for most people because it's hard to store that much water that you would need for months and months unless you have a huge piece of land and reservoirs to do that. But what you can do is look into inexpensive water filtration systems. But then you have to look into systems, even if it's small containers, that will allow you to basically use pond water, lake water, or stream water, river water, and that will actually filter out what needs filtering out. Not all filtration systems do that. If you buy your regular off-the-shelf Walmart filtration thing, or Kroger, or whatever your store is, it's usually not going to do that. But there are great filtration systems out there that will do that. And then you can always grab a bucket and go to some body of water and filter what you need. So this is also really important. Essential hygiene products. Think about what you really need. Toilet paper is one that comes to mind. That's really, one of the really basic essentials. Well, what else do you really need? One thing that when you are in an emergency food situation and you don't get a lot of nutritious food, you can substitute with supplements. So when you go and look into the basic vitamins, minerals that you need, maybe you can find, we've been using one brand that's really worked well for us, and that's the Tangerine. And this comes in tablets or in powder. This is just our experience. We've been using this for years. Our kids have been using it for years. We all love it. Just something you can stock up on, or maybe an equivalent that you find from another brand. We're not affiliated in any way. Also, think about your medicine, some people might need that. Stock up on that as well if you can, as best as you can, right? Think about these things. Also, self-defense products, guns, knives, ammo, whatever you choose as a self-defense, means, but think about those things. Seeds. This is where we go one layer out. Seeds for you to use, but even if you can't use seeds, it might be a very valuable thing to trade, right? Seeds might become a very valuable thing to trade. Emergency plans for your family. Something we have been, talking about with our children. They're grown now, but we still have a plan in place. If certain events happen, where do we meet? What are the immediate actions? If communications go out, if phones don't work, internet doesn't work, they know what to do, where we all meet, and make those plans with your family, especially if your kids are in school. Everyone's out in different places during the day. There's something to be said for being prepared for that. Listen, these are all very timely things. More likely than not, you're going to need all of these things very soon. This is just how things are looking right now. Money. Think about what will give you the greatest amount of freedom if your regular services don't work. ATMs, banks close, wires are not working, any online transactions, PayPal, all that stuff doesn't work. What is it? Is it cash? Do you hold money in silver or gold? And if you do so, also think about what sizes, if you have big bars of gold, think about how impractical they might be to trade or barter. Whereas if you have smaller, if you have silver coins or something like that, that might be more helpful for you in a time of crisis to use as an actual currency. Think about that too. Also, do you prefer holding savings in your bank account, or do you prefer having them somewhere stored in cash? Think about these things. I can't make a recommendation. I can just tell you, think about these things and look what works for you. Look what has been historically successful for people. That's all available. Look at those websites. You can look some of those things you can find on preparewithinspired.com as well. Just look it all up. Just don't put it off. This is really not a time to put this off. And why this is so important, we always say this. It is peace of mind for you, peace of mind for your family, right? You can then help others, because there's going to be a lot of people that still, with everything that's going on, are going to be caught off guard because they just can't imagine that something like this could happen in America. Something like this could happen in England or Austria or Germany or France or Switzerland. Any countries that hasn't had that situation in a long time. But this is a desired thing. This isn't a desired escalation, a desired downfall of the economic system. So that's what we're in. We believe in this preparation. We believe it's important to do that, important to have the essentials, and to have a plan in place. Listen, best case scenario, we won't need it. Then we can go slowly through the rations later on and eat those things and use up those things. Worst case scenario, we will need all of it, and then you will be glad you invested in this. This is not about fear-mongering. This is simply the way things look right now. There's great websites out there that focus way more on that. Mike Adams, who we've recently had as an interview partner here on the Inspired channel. We've had a wonderful spiritual conversation, which we both enjoyed greatly. But if you go to his websites, naturalnews.com or the Health Ranger Report, then you'll just see that he's a prepper. He focuses a lot on that. He has a lot of good guidance on that and can give you a lot of good tips. As we said, preparedwithinspired.com, where you get discount on a 3-month food supply. There are great resources. Please do not put this off. If you're not in the United States, there are great resources in Europe and in all other areas of the world. But this is the time, people. This is really the time. And we don't know. Major cyber attacks are happening every day now. Major. When I say major, is major government websites are being attacked from the biggest countries in the world. So for any of these services that we use to go down, or the internet to go down in large sections, it's not something that is a conspiracy theory. This could happen at any moment. And then you won't have the resources that you have right now at your fingertips to do these things. So please don't put this off. I know this offer for the 3-month food supply is going to be there for a little bit, but they might just run out of it. The way things stand now, they just might run out of product soon. So please, if you have the inspiration to do it today rather than tomorrow, and get that stuff in order. We'll be here, as you know, for as long as these things are available, YouTube and Rumble and all of that. We will be here. We'll continue to monitor the situation, but mainly, more importantly, we'll continue to co-create in a beautiful, positive, inspirational way. This is the main focus that we have, is co-create a beautiful, authentic, natural future together. And I want to give a little bit of guidance to those who say, hey, I'm in a bind financially. I can't do this right now. It's hard for me. This is the time where you start looking for your tribe, for your community around you. Sometimes you can pool resources. Sometimes you can, when you have a few like-minded people, you might not be able to bring in the big cash right now, but you might be able to bring in some skills or other things. And so very important, what skills do you have, and how can you exchange skills for goods or goods for skills and whatnot? Again, this is by no means a complete list, and we do forget things from time to time. We just tried to cover the essentials, right? The essentials that you need to survive. So please think about that. All right, tribe. We love you all. Thank you for joining us. And once again, approach this with a sense of empowerment, not fear.